you know, you come in, you take your seat, and then you're told you have to get out of it because they really have somebody they'd rather have sitting there. And you're right. The easy way to deal with that is simply to pay people enough money to get them to voluntarily give up their seats. That's what they should have done. Anything else, forcibly removing people from their seats, not just this one guy, but the 3 others who didn't put up a physical resistance, that's just so insulting to customers. Why would any business think they can get away with that? And what's wrong with us as a country that we let them do that?
Holman, I'll tell you why they can get away with it. They can get away with it because there's not that much competition in the marketplace, which is to say, you say boycott United, you'll say this is a rich person's problem. If you're going to fly to Aspen, there's very few ways from New York to get there. You pretty much have to take United.
That's right.
We might have, by the way, dozens of other examples that may seem less highfalutin.
I mean, that's why I like this. I want Americans to show that they're willing to make a little bit of a sacrifice in support of their principles. And finally, this example, in some ways, is God sent. It gives us a chance for this country to get up off its back and say we're going to. For people to get off their backs and say that we're going to take some control of our destiny and push back against the things we don't like.
To Andrew's question, Milton Friedman said one of the key roles of the federal government, one of only 4 that he permitted, was to enforce competition. Did we allow too much consolidation in this industry?
You know, the numbers don't really show it yet. I wrote columns saying that the only reason we're getting this consolidation is because the airline unions wanted it, and that's why Obama was delivering. But the airlines are making money. They're not making money over hand over fist. They're not making unrealistic returns.
But they're not going bankrupt like they used to.
Yes, but the industry does have to be able to generate a profit over
would you be against
period of time.
Us changing the law to prevent overbooking or kicking people off the plane? Look, by your own newspaper suggesting that in some cases these airlines are voluntarily or involuntarily pushing something like 70,000 to 80,000 people a year off the plane.
I don't want Congress to get involved. I don't want lawyers to get involved. I want the public to get involved and draw a line about what's acceptable.
But for some reason, from a competitive standpoint, you haven't seen an airline come out, at least yet, and say, from a marketing perspective, and that we're not going to ever push you off, and you're going to come to our. You're going to use us rather than somebody else, and the reason is because there's not enough competition.
Or overbooking is a legitimate business practice, and the only thing they did wrong here was not pay people enough to make it worth their while to get out of their seat.
When it comes to regulation, do I make sure I understand this? Because Steve Leisman and I have been having this conversation. They limit how much you can pay. There's not a floor. Regulators have a ceiling, 4 times the cost of a ticket, right? I mean.
Is there a true ceiling? I'm not sure that's the case.
Go reread that article.
I don't see why. I mean, it's a free market economy. You can transact at whatever price 2 parties agree on. I don't see why that should hold.
Well, Gordon Bethune on yesterday said, no, that they were following the law, that there is a limit. And then when we pressed him, why does that exist? And he said, well, you know, we don't want auctions taking place at the counter.
No.
So many
by the way, actually, no, I know what you're talking about. It's not a. If you forcibly bump somebody off, you have to give them 4 times the amount.
Oh, there's a minimum.
There's a minimum.
Yeah.
Holman, we're all agreed here that
up to a certain amount.
No, if they involuntarily kick you off the plane, they have to give you 4 times the
up
price.
To a certain amount.
4 times the price of the ticket.
Holman, we all agreed here that United were in the wrong. What about the law enforcement officers? Did they make this problem worse than it could have been?
I don't see why cops should be called on to enforce a bad United policy. These passengers weren't doing anything illegal. They simply took their seats in the plane. United should have found a way to get them off voluntarily. I don't think it's the job of the police to come and enforce United's bad overbooking policies. If I were a cop, I would have taken one look at the situation and say, I want nothing to do with this.
Okay, so you're Oscar Munoz. What do you do now?
Oh, you know, I hope
what could you possibly do?
My whole point is that I hope it moves beyond him and beyond United. It becomes symbolic for people to stop being so complacent and passive in America. You know, this is a country where we don't leave home. We don't leave our hometown if we can't find a job. We don't start new businesses anymore. I want to see some animal spirits moving, you know, from not just in the stock market, but into our personal behavior and how we, you know, conduct our lives and show some initiative. And that's what I really would like to see in this boycott.
And what are you supposed to do if you're supposed to travel to a place that there is no
other way to get there?
Yeah.
If there's no other alternative, buy a ticket on United. But there's lots of alternatives, you know, and United's not going to.
Yeah, if you go through 5, you know, if you have 5 stopovers along the way, there's lots of competition.
And United can always lower its prices. The airline's not going to go out of business, but the boycott would be an important social moment, I think.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.